Assalamu alaikum. Hi guys, welcome to English from my home to yours. This is me again talking to you about grammar. So let's talk about what we have covered so far. Talked about the subject, I moved on to talking about the verb. I talked about all the 12 verbs in English, and today I want to talk to you about the present simple in detail. Alright, let's go. So let's start with the present simple positive present simple verb. What does that mean? Positive present simple means it's the first form, any of them, and it's not negative, it's not a question. So any of these verbs can come in a sentence, and it is a present simple sentence, and it is a positive sentence. So here, if I say, I am a teacher, this is a present simple positive sentence. He is a student, present simple positive sentence. They are students, present simple positive. Okay, in the present simple, there is a difference between the king, verb to be, and all the people. As we agreed before, you can go back and watch the videos before this, especially the video in which I explained all 12 tenses in English. We agreed that verb to be is the king, okay? So the king has 3 sons, as we agreed, and it is different from all the other verbs in English, okay? So I am a teacher. If I want to make this sentence negative, because this sentence am is the king or the son of the king, it does not need anything to take that negative. So if I am a teacher wants to become a negative, it just takes the word not and it becomes a negative. So it goes like this: I am not a teacher. So let's see. I is the subject, am is the verb, and then a teacher, that's the completion. If this sentence, positive sentence, wants to become a negative sentence, what does it do? Because it's the son of the king, one of the 3 sons of the king, M is R, it just takes the negative. So it becomes I am not a teacher. Now imagine the king or the son of the king is walking, and it wants to take negative. So can the negative walk before the king? Of course not. The negative goes after the king. So it becomes I am not a teacher. Okay, you got it. So where do we put not? We put the word not after the king. Am or is or are. Another example. She is beautiful. Let's make it negative. Again, is the king. So if it wants the negative, if this positive sentence wants to become a negative sentence, it just takes not and it puts it after it and becomes negative immediately. So she is not beautiful. She is not beautiful is a negative sentence from the positive sentence she is beautiful. How about a question? A question is not a negative, is not a positive sentence. Now, again, the king, verb to be, doesn't need anybody to make it negative, to make positive, to make a question. It doesn't need anybody. So to make a question, again, the king makes the question by itself, alone, without anybody's help. Okay, so it goes like this. For example, she is beautiful. We want to ask a question here. What do we say? We switch the place of the verb and the subject. So it becomes she is beautiful becomes is she beautiful? That's how we make questions. If the present simple verb is verb to be, is are. So again, how do we make the question? She is beautiful. Is she beautiful? Now, verb to be in the present simple, as I said before at the beginning of the video, is different from all the other verbs in English. So it's different from has and have and do and play and go and all the other verbs. Why? Those verbs are from us, from the people. They're poor. They cannot take not without something, we will say this now, they cannot make their own questions, they need help, they need wasta. I'm talking to people in the Arab world, so you're familiar with the concept. If you're the king, and I'm not picking on any kings here, don't get me wrong, if you're the king, you can do whatever you do. You take notes, you make a question, you don't ask for anybody's help, you don't need wasta to do anything. But for all the other verbs, all the verbs in English, in the present simple, to take negative or to make a question, they need wasta. Oh, now you can remember. What is the wasta that we talked about? Which verb is the wasta? It's verb to do, the genie. Do. Let me give you an example now to make things clear. Let's take a positive sentence from these verbs, not the king, but these verbs. Let's take, for example, play. So, I play football. Well, this is a present simple positive sentence, and it's okay. Beautiful. Now, to make it negative, can it do like the king? Can it just take negative and put it after it and becomes I play not football? No, because this is not the king. This is one of us. It's one of the people. So it cannot make a negative sentence. So what does it need? What does it need? It needs a wasta to get negative. So every time the verb play, or any other verb really, goes to get negative, negative looks at it and says, you want me? I'm not gonna go with you. I go with the king only. Go get wasta. So the verb play goes very, very quickly to do and say, please, please, I want to make a negative, come with me. And then do goes with play, and they go to not, okay? And they say, oh, would you please go with play? And then not looks and it finds do, and then it says, okay, I will go with you. So what does the sentence become now? It becomes, I do wasta not play football. So again, I play football. I do not play football. Where did that do come from? Oh, don't forget, I play football. So the verb here is play. It's not the king. So it definitely, to make a negative, it definitely will need a wasta. This is why do is in this sentence, because it's the wasta to make negative. Where did not come from? Not is the negative. Okay, so I do, because it's the wasta, it goes first. Right, has prestige. So I do, and then the word that we wanted, the negative that we wanted, not, and then the poor verb comes number 3, poor, very poor. So I do not play football. I do not play football. I play football. I do not play football. Hopefully that's clear. For the question, again, for these verbs, majority and minority, for the people, poor people, to make questions, again, they need what? They need wasta. They cannot make questions by themselves like is are, okay? So in is are, as I said at the beginning of the video, she is beautiful, is she beautiful? Question finished. But for here, how can they make questions? So let's watch. I play football. Now to make a question, what do you need? You need wasta. So what's the wasta? Wasta's do. Now let's put do in the beginning, because in every question we must start it with a verb, okay? And do goes in the beginning because it's a wasta, so it has prestige, so nobody goes before it. So do, and then the subject in the sentence, I play football. Do I play football? Or if you're asking about somebody else, do you play football? I or you, it doesn't matter. Okay, so again, for the majority of the people, not the king, all the other verbs, the people, poor people, to make negative or to make a question, they need wasta. In the negative, they will take wasta and they will take the negative, the word not. And the order will be subject, of course, I, and then the wasta, do, and then negative, not, and then verb, play. I do not play football. Now, to make a question, we put the wasta first, do, and then the sentence, I play football. Do I play football? Or do you play football? The questions I've explained so far are the yes, no questions. What does that mean? That means the answer to those questions are the words yes or the word no. The word yes or the word no. They are called hal questions in Arabic. So if you try and translate these yes no questions, you will always, in Arabic, you will always start with the word hal. So the example I gave, am I a teacher? Is she beautiful? Do you play football? All of these, if you try and translate them into Arabic, then you will start with the word hal. So those are called yes no questions in English. Well, how about the WH questions? Questions that if you translate them into Arabic don't really start with hal. They start with the 7 words, WH words. They start with where, when, how, what, and all of the where and all of these words. So how about these words? How about these questions? How can we make them? Again, the king doesn't need anybody. So just like you made the yes no question, for example, am I a teacher? You just put the word that you want, the WH word that you want, before is or am or are, any of these, and you have a WH question. Very simple. So let me give an example. So am I a teacher? That's the hal question. Before it you put why, for example. So why am I a teacher? Simple as that. It doesn't need anything. For another example, for the king, she is beautiful. The hal question, there is no question. Is she beautiful? And if you want to ask a WH question, why is she beautiful? For example, okay? Or any other word depending on the question. Now, for the poor verbs, they can't make their own questions without the wasta, do, and as we said, do goes first. Now, it's the same thing like hal, but you put the WH words first. The WH word first. So for example, if you want to say, do you play football? And you want to ask what, for example. So you say, what do you play? It's that simple really. It's just like the hal question, same thing. Here, like here. It's like the WH question, but it's like the yes no question, but it has the WH word before it. Now, here is a very, very, very important thing to learn about the poor verbs and how they make their questions. If the subject in the sentence is he, she, or it, then the verb in the positive sentence will have an S. Alright, so let's agree on that. If the subject is he, she, it, the verb takes S. He, she, it, the verb takes S. Alright, we agree on that. So for example, she plays football. She plays football is a positive sentence. Now, how can we make that negative? As we agreed, we get a wasta. And here's the trick. The wasta is a greedy person. So he looks at the verb and he finds that the verb, she plays football. So he finds that the verb has an S. So the wasta would be like, okay, you want to give me something? And the verb has to say, yes, I'm going to give you the S. So the negative sentence becomes like this. It becomes, she, well, start from here. She does not play. Now, play, it was plays in the positive sentence, yes, because the S for play went to the wasta. So the do, the wasta, do, became what? Became does. So again, she plays football, does she play football? All right. How about the yes no question? That was the yes no question, the hal question. How about the WH question? It's the same thing. For example, we want to ask the same question and we want to ask with what? Okay. Now, of course, if we ask what, we have to drop football because we're asking about it. So, she plays football. What does she play? Without the S. So, this particular point might be difficult. When we talk about the majority of the verbs, if the subject is he, she, it, then the verb will have an S in the positive sentence. When we try to make a negative or a question, of course we need a wasta. But the wasta, if it sees S in the sentence, it just jumps and takes it. It cannot leave that S with the poor verb. If the verb doesn't have any S, then the wasta is nice. It will give it negative and it will give it question and everything without taking anything from it. But if the verb has an S, then that wasta, do, becomes does, D-O-E-S. It takes the S from the verb. Right, now let me summarize everything I talked about today. Today I talked about the present simple, how to make negative sentences, and how to make questions. And I said that the king is different from all the other millions and millions of verbs are different from the king. If the king is a positive sentence, right? The king is in a positive sentence. If the king wants to make negative, it just takes negative. If it wants to make a question, it just makes a question, right? So, she is beautiful, she is not beautiful, is she beautiful? But for all the verbs in English, all of them, if they want to make it, the life is very, very difficult. If they want to make a negative, they have to find a wasta to make the negative because they're poor, they're not kings, they don't have anything. So, I go to school, it wants a wasta to make negative. So, I do not go to school. And to make a question, they also need a wasta, they need do again. So, to make a question, I go to school becomes like this. Do you go to school? So that's it for this video. Hopefully you liked it. And if you did like it, share it for everybody's benefit. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.